Today I have with me Aleš Bláha from ZEVO, which is a waste-to-energy plant here in Prague. Aleš began his education in Zlín before moving to Germany, where he continued to complete his PhD and higher schooling. Now he is running the incineration plant in Prague, and he believes that a good way to deal with our waste is to burn it. But do we risk polluting our atmosphere? Today, Aleš will provide the answers. Aleš, welcome to Let's Talk About It. Maybe we can begin with a simple question. Are we intelligently running our waste management here in Prague?
Exactly in Prague, yes. If I compare it with my time in Germany, where I lived for 20 years, so I would say that the waste management in Prague is comparable with the waste management in developed west cities like Nuremberg, Munich, Vienna and so on.
And if we widen the context of the Czech Republic, are we doing the right things?
Well, still there are some regions in Czech Republic which are landfilling a huge amount of waste because they don't have the waste-to-energy plant. So I don't think that it is right that everything should be incinerated. The incineration is the nearly last method how to deal with the waste which can be used better. It is only a part of the circular economy. Of course, you have waste stream, origin waste stream, which is coming out from the life cycle, from the life as a product, and then you have to make the decision what can we do with it. Either reuse, but not everything is reusable. And the residuum, which is not residual now, you can either landfill or incinerate. And you can incinerate it in dedicated plants like waste-to-energy plant, or you can incinerate it as a co-product in coal-fired plants and also in some factories which are producing, for example, concrete and so on.
Okay, so from the waste we produce, if we really make it in simple terms, there's three possibilities. We can recycle or reuse, we can put it into landfill sites, or we can burn it and receive some energy. Now, if I've got here a breakdown of how we're treating our plastic wastes, for example, and if I compare the Czech Republic to Greece, for example, I see that the Czech Republic is recycling about 37% of its plastic waste. It's dumping into landfill sites 40%, and incinerating only 23%. Greece, for example, puts up to 75% of its plastic waste into landfills, whereas Germany and Switzerland have essentially zero landfill, and they are incinerating a lot more plastic. Should we be incinerating more plastic here in the Czech Republic?
Well, it depends on the market. If you have a better possibility how to reuse the plastic when the demand at the market is here, is given, so of course it is better to reuse it, but not all the time is the demand the same like the production, and so you have to be flexible how to deal it during the time, you know. So but definitely it is better to incinerate or do it to recover the energy contained in the plastic or in the waste as general than the landfill, because there it is wasted money and wasted nature stuffs, nature material, you know.
On that point, I'm going to split our waste production into waste production from industrial uses. So big plants that are maybe using plastics to make products, and from that process is coming some waste product which can then be put into the circular economy and recycled, and then communal waste. So this is the waste that you and I, when we're going to the bins and we're separating our waste into paper, plastic, glass, for example, we're putting it into the yellow bins, and this is often plastics which are contaminated with food, or they might not be clean. Can this type of this type of plastics, can they be recycled at all, or should they go straight to you?
This is a very good question. You know, if you know what means the entropy.
Yes.
Entropy is the unorder in the universum, and it's increasing with all step you do. And so I think, as although the German model looks out, it is better to separate the waste in the household, at home, in the right ways, and to put, for example, the very dirty packages from, say, the yogurt package and so on, to put it directly into the black bin. Because if you wash it, you need hot water, you need maybe detergent and so on, and you increase the entropy.
Yes.
Yes. And so I think the task is to educate the people to say, okay, what can be reused, really reused, and what is better to use as energy source. Yeah. And for example, of course, PET, high density polyethylene, so HDPE, or some polypropylene packages could be reused as a material, but the thin foils and so on, which are very dirty from food and so on, you can clean it. You can clean it in the, well, let me say, healthy way, you know, healthy from head. Healthy way and good and intelligent way, and this should be put it directly into black bin and come to our plant.
Aleši, to your plant comes every day 200 trucks full of waste. Each truck containing roughly 5 tons of waste. So that's 1,000 tons of waste going through your facility every single day. And you're burning that at a rate of about 12 to 15 tons every hour. What is the output of that incineration? Are we just getting rid of a problem, or do we actually gain something from that incineration?
Well, so it is the municipal solid waste what I'm talking about. It's not only plastic. So
yes.
Now we have to make a cut in the discussion, because we are discussing the plastic. Now we are discussing the municipal
well, it's what
solid
I'll
waste.
if I follow your advice, and if I, rather than wasting warm water and my time to clean the yogurt pot, and I throw it into the general waste, and that goes to you.
Yes.
This is part of the mix.
And I make heat from this yogurt package, and if you are connected to the central heating, so you get back the warm water to wash, or to wash yourself, or to wash some dishes and so on from your yogurt package.
So you're cleverly playing with entropy now. You're using this stored energy in the waste, in the molecules of the plastics, the paper, the food residues, whatever it might be, and you're burning that, and then you're releasing a lot more heat energy, which then can presumably drive turbines to generate electricity or provide direct heat for the locality? Both. And is this an efficient process?
Yes, it is an efficient process, because the efficiency of our plant is about 70-75%. It means that 75% of the energy coming in the municipal solid waste, as you are talking about the 1,000 metric tons per day, so 75%, about 75% of the energy covered or hidden in the waste is reused as heat or electricity, either for our own demand or also for the public net. For example, we have a surplus of energy, heat and electricity, and we deliver it to 20,000 households in Prague.
So you're generating sufficient energy, electrical energy, for 20,000 households.
Electrical energy and heat too.
And heat energy too. Okay, and what about your plant, your waste energy plant? I mean, is that not requiring more energy than we receive out of it?
No.
So you're self-sufficient.
Yes, we are self-sufficient, and also.
So 20,000 households is a surplus.
Is surplus. Yes, of course we have our on demand for the machines and for fans and so on, and pumps running. So it is electricity, and also the heat for preheating of some silos and so on. And the surplus is delivered into the public net, so electricity and heat, as I thought before. And Also, in the case of blackout, which could happen, we are able to deliver electricity, for example, to the hospital in Motol.
So you are a reserve...
Theoretically, but we would need some cooperation of the electricity work in Prague to deliver directly.
Okay, so you are an integral part of an emergency source of electricity for strategically important buildings and establishments in Prague.
Yes.
Okay, so this might sound so far very good, but if I'm incinerating the yogurt pot properly, I can imagine that the emissions will not be dangerous. But Aleši, surely into the waste, people are throwing all sorts of things. And I can imagine there might be deterred to throw away, let's say, batteries or similar items. That means, to me as a chemist, there's going to be heavy metals there.
Sure.
There's going to be all sorts of things which could, when they're burned, they're going to release emissions that are potentially very poisonous to our atmosphere.
They release emissions which are controlled. If you compare it with landfill, you put the same way to the hello anywhere in the nature. Yes. And it is only a question of time. It's a time bomb when the pollutants contained in the waste will be released into the nature. In our plant, they are released on the grid by the heat. They are going into the gas phase and they are washing out by the very, very sophisticated washing stages or cleaning technology, flue gas cleaning technology. And they are concentrating in a very small amount of special waste. It's dangerous waste, it's called danger waste, and it's dealt like a danger waste, dealt by solidification, so it means fixation of the problematic stuffs in a concrete matrix, you know. So it is not soluble for the future in the nature, like in a normal landfill, in a hollow in the nature, you know. So
okay, so you're claiming landfill has the potential problem that you can get leaching from that landfill site going into various natural waterways, underground passages, which we do not know where these things end up. Okay, but surely your chimney at your site is 177.5 meters high. Surely coming out of the top must be some dangerous items. How can you be sure? How can you be sure?
It is so. There is a European law, and European law prescribes some limits for the emissions. The emissions are controlled by the program, by the technology, and it's also evaluated for the authorities. And our plant is running the emissions lower than 10% of limits. So it is nearly, I call it, it is technical zero. Yes, there is no technology without emissions or with zero emissions. It is a lie if somebody say it, so it is a lie.
Well, I checked your website, Aleši, and I looked at there was a real-time graph showing the emissions coming from your chimney, from the incineration, and comparing it to the accepted limits.
Yeah.
And of course you did. Of course, it looks very positive. The data is very positive. It looks as if it's very clean emissions. Yeah. So from the plant, we are producing energy, usable energy from waste. There are other potentially profitable sources of, let's say, iron or other materials that could be used into production of road surfaces. And the emissions have negligible or zero poisonous effects. This sounds like a dream ticket, Aleši. So why are we still putting so much waste in the ground?
Well, the problem is that a lot of people are afraid of the technology. But if you compare the emissions from the waste to energy plant for example, with different plants fired by coal or by natural gas. So the emissions from the modern waste to energy plant are comparable with the emissions from the natural gas fired plant.
Yes, but 40% of waste is still put into landfill in this country.
Yes, I know.
Why?
Well, the problem is that the people are afraid, you know. There are some streams, some political streams, and also NGOs, which are playing the same game like landfill lobby. Yes, and because they are the landfill lobby is financing some streams, and the problem is that in the past they were brainwashed by the landfill lobby against the waste to energy plant, and so it still remains, but the time changed, and now some regions in Czech Republic are thinking about the installation of such a plant, because they know that 2030 there will be stop for landfilling in Czech Republic. Yes, I hope definitely 2030, because the term has been moved from 2024 to 2028 and 2030. And for example, in Germany, there is since 2005, it is forbidden to landfill waste, and this is also corresponding with the graphics which you have shown a few minutes ago. And I think it will come, but it is more expensive than landfill. If you compare the investment cost for landfill with the investment costs for a waste to energy plant, so we are talking, if you say, okay, I will have a plant with maybe 100,000 metric tons yearly capacity, so you have to spend about 70 million euro for it. The same plant in the nature, the landfill, you can build for few hundred thousand.
So it's a case of the initial investment, because if I understood, if we just if we landfill, we no longer receive any profit from that waste. Whereas if we incinerate, we receive energy. Yeah. And also there's some other streams of possible income from the remains of that incineration process. Yeah. So how long does it take for the incinerating plant to recover the initial investment?
15 years.
15 years.
15 years.
So economically speaking, there's no reason why not to push forward with incineration.
And also the gate fee at the waste to energy plant is comparable with the gate fee at the landfill. The landfill, you have to pay maybe 1,100 Czech crowns or 1,200 Czech crowns per metric ton. In the waste to energy plant, you have to pay at the gate maybe 1,500. So it is not a big difference. But of course, if you compare it in a longer term, so it is much better to bring the residual waste. I am not talking about waste which can be reused as a material. Okay, well, the whole time we are talking about the residual waste after the collecting and recycling. Okay.
So your vision to the future is a collaborative effort between recycling, higher quality wastes, and the incineration, the conversion to energy, waste to energy for the remainder.
For the remainder, yeah.
Okay, so do you have the capacity to deal with the potential huge shift in demand for your facilities? If the Czech Republic decides to go the way of Germany, for example, presumably with just simply raising the taxes levied on such landfill sites, they could change the situation overnight. Are you ready to burn more?
Yes, we are ready. For example, Germany or Switzerland, they have the philosophy of 50-50. It means 50% will be recycled. And I'm not talking about the collection. I'm talking already about the recycling. So it is reusing, 100% reusing. And 50% will be, incinerated with energy recovery. So, And if you compare the same situation with Czech Republic, so we have about 5,500,000 metric tons of municipal waste each year. And if you say 50-50, so it means 2,500 or 2,500,000 will be reused, and 2,500,000 metric tons will be incinerated. And the capacity in Czech Republic, the actual capacity is about 800,000 metric tons. So we would need additional 1,700,000 metric tons of capacity. So this is the real optic.
Will you be using this future capacity to dig up current landfill sites and burn that material?
Yes. We increased, now we are in reconstruction of the plant. We are ready with 2 lines, and the next 2 lines, because we have 4 lines, and it is so that each year will be one of them will be revamped. And now we are ready with 2 lines, so we are the half of the revamping, of the complete revamping of the plant. And for the future, we will be able, due to the revamping, to the modernization of the plant, we will be able to incinerate about maybe 25% or 20% more than we were able before the revamping. So it means we'll be able in future to operate about 400,000 metric tons of waste. And so it means not only the municipal solid waste coming from the households, but also the residual waste coming from the small industry, from the shops and so on, because this waste is still landfilled. Now, not all of the small shops here in Prague or small production organizations in Prague are connected to the central collection of the Prague collection. They can deal with the waste as they want. They can give it to somebody who will bring it to the landfill. And this is a big problem. In Germany, it is not possible. In Germany, the small industry and the shops and so on, they have to bring it to the waste-to-energy plant owned by the municipality if such a plant is available, is there.
Aleš, yes or no, do you believe that people will accept the advantages of incineration and support the shift from landfill to waste to energy in the Czech Republic?
Sure.
Aleš Bláha, thank you very much for coming to Let's Talk About It. Okay. It's been brilliant to talk to you and learn all about what you're doing. As a small present, I've got a t-shirt here with our Let's Talk About It badge, so that's for you. Thank you very much indeed, Aleš. It's easy. Thanks. All the best.